All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Reinvent the Hunt podcast. It's going to be Kevin and I tonight. A lot of people are out for Thanksgiving, so we don't have any guests on, and Kenny's with family. So, looking forward to having you on tonight, Kevin, talking about some post-rut stuff. But it sounds like you had a pretty good encounter last week or so.
Yeah, it was last weekend, and I was pulling an all day sit, and
Stuff.
it was yeah, it was. I enjoy them, so I was sitting there, and I had three other bucks come through that morning. One was a little basket rack eight, so I decided to keep on sitting, and it was around 11 o'clock. I had a giant 10 pointer come in, and like just came in perfect. I was in some real thick wood, so I knew like any shot opportunity was going to be like slim. It's going to be hard. The doe bedding area, and that's what
Yeah,
those 4 bucks did. They were coming downwind of a doe bedding area and coming through, and they walked the same exact trail like every single one of them. So there had to be a doe and estrus like that morning. So he trotted in about 30 yards away from me and stopped right behind a tree. And I was at this point, I was drawing back and I was ready to let one fly. All he had to do was take one more step
yeah,
and he just turned and went the direction he came in and I could never get a shot.
it's killer.
So yeah, it was like the next day it was still stinging. Like I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh, like we worked so hard to get this close and
yeah.
I'm just he didn't know I was there. I didn't force anything, so that's what I'm thankful for. And like it was just perfect, except the one extra step he needed to take. But
And
that's all right.
those are the things that stay with you too for a long, long time. You go back and think about it, like what if or what could I have done different? Sometimes you can't do
Yeah.
anything different. It's just the way the cards play. So
And the crazy part is when he turned around and started trotting back to where he came from, he actually walked within 15 yards of me. But it was so thick, there was no way I was getting a shot. So,
it's
and
crazy.
I just watched him run off. I was like, oh
Yeah.
man. And he was looking, something caught his eye and it was directly away from me. Like the wind was good. I know he didn't scent me. He just stopped and like looked up towards the road because I was hunting pretty close. It was probably, I'd say 120 yards from the road. It
Okay.
wasn't that far. And, so he stopped and looked up towards the road and just, I don't know, he didn't like something he seen up towards the road. And he turned around and started trotting back the way he came and then he like turned towards me and was like 15 yards away at one point and I was like, oh, that's killer.
It is absolutely, yeah. Man, I can't, and that it, like makes me have flashbacks to all the events like that happened where you get a buck come in, and like I get it, I get it. It was the first hunt I was out with a Clovis, like really early and working on it, and I had a really big deer come in. It was on state property actually, and I was up in this little spindly tree, super skinny, barely get up in the climber, but I thought it was a good spot, and it ended up being a good spot. I've talked about this before, but it haunts me today because this thing came in right underneath me, and like really, it's so close, no shot opportunity, and straight down. I
Hmm.
just it just didn't want to do it. I didn't like it, didn't feel comfortable, and I'm just like, come on, this is horrible shot angle. And he worked his way around me, and he's like standing below me. I remember like 5 yards out, straight in front of the tree, sniffing a leaf, and I could watch his nostrils flaring, and I'm going, man, this is like it's like too close for a shot. Comfortable
Yeah.
shot. Of course, you could have drilled him, but like it just felt really close for a shot. And the other thing was his eye was turned really toward me, and I knew that if I'd have turned and drew at that point in time, he'd have absolutely probably busted my movement.
Hmm.
And I rolled the dice like we all do as hunters, and I decided to let him have more time and take a step out to like 20 and it went perfect quarter away. And I just going to smash right through both lungs. And for some reason, like you said, I don't know why. I didn't do anything. I didn't move. The wind didn't change. He just, something startled him. I don't know if it was like a scent from where I walked in. Could have been that, pick something up. He just whirled and I couldn't even draw in time. He left out to 30 yards and stopped and turned and I couldn't even. I mean, there's nothing I can do. It was so fast. I couldn't even get a pin on the thing to get a good solid shot. So I get it. Like you never know what happens sometimes. Those deer, especially those big old bucks, they're weary and yeah, they kind of
Uh-huh.
they kind of get into that like what we're talking about tonight, that post rut. Hey, I'm gonna go back to being smart again. And
Hmm.
now
Right.
that
Yeah.
I'm mostly over and exhausted chasing the ladies around. I'm gonna get a little smarter now and start
Yeah.
to react the way I usually react.
and move at night. It all
Absolutely.
depends how much hunting pressure is on, but
Yeah.
yeah, they definitely go back to being smart.
Haunts you too. Like I get what you're saying because you lay in bed and think about it. You're like, what if or what could I have done? And you finally get to the point where you have enough of those encounters that suck. You kind of just go, okay, there's chalk another one up on the wall. It's
Yeah,
going to happen time and time
it's
again.
yeah, and it's a learning experience. You got to learn from it.
Yeah.
At least, and I look at it as like, 5 years ago, I would have tried to risk a shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now, as I'm getting older, and I know, like, obviously, the risking a shot with a bow is just crazy. It's your odds are stacked against you,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
just not willing to do it anymore. So it made me feel good that I didn't push a shot. Growing it stung the next morning, but it's all right. That deer had no idea I was there. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know. I know. I don't even like. I mean, I was there. I take it, but even a solid standing broadside shot, I really want quartering. I want slightly quarter, just to smoke right through
Hmm.
both lungs, and I don't want a chance that deer is angled quartering too, and I can't really quite tell. There's just so much of an opportunity to mess up when it comes to the quartering two deer that way. Even slightly quartering two is not great because you have such an angle to go back through the vitals instead of up through the
Right.
vitals. You know what I mean?
And like you one lung a deer, and
Yeah, it's not good.
no, no. Like,
Miles.
oh yeah, hope yeah, or he'll survive. Like
Well,
the
that's
whole
true. They survived from that. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
they're crazy, man.
Yeah, I just saw a story the other day where someone won one, and it looked the entry hole from where I saw the impact site looked like a pretty good double lung shot, and it was just that it was quartering to angle, and it cut
Hmm.
one lobe of the one lung, and that deer made it through. And I mean, any hunter watching that arrow impact, if you have a lighted knock, is going to go, "Oh, I smoked that thing."
Hmm.
It's going to be down. But man, you're right. One lung, you're talking surviving or going miles before they expire.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's tough.
I'd never I never like to count my chickens before they hatch, especially with a bow. It's crazy the things that
Yeah,
these deer can survive from and what could happen.
yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Well, we're entering post rut across the country pretty hard right now, and tonight we talk about some tactics when it comes to what we've noticed with deer and post rut. Obviously, everybody's going to say food, and we know that. I mean, the bucks have been running like crazy. They're exhausted, they're hungry, they're thirsty. They want to rest a little bit and recoup the energy. But I know it's a great time of year if you're out and the snow's coming down. It's always fun to get out when it's quiet. The snow, like a nice gentle
Hmm.
snow is falling, maybe a couple inches on the ground. We might have gotten some here in Ohio tonight. It's probably not going to be quite cold enough, but it's so quiet because snow's an insulator, but not only does it do that, but it attenuates the noise of the woods, so it absorbs sound energy. And if you've ever hunted, they went out there on a snowy day. It's one of the coolest experiences ever because
I love hunting the
you hear
snow.
everything. It's so
Hmm.
quiet.
We don't hardly ever get any snow here in Maryland. Not an, especially especially to hunt in. Normally
Yeah,
it's probably after the season we'll get snow, but
yeah,
I love hunting in the snow whenever we get it. But
it's a
we're about to
blast.
have I think you obviously your guys are gonna have it too, but we're about to have a cold snap here, especially like this weekend. It's supposed to be real windy tomorrow. It's supposed to be like
Yeah,
26 degrees Saturday. It's gonna
cold.
be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's our gun opener Saturday. So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Ohio has guns starting next week and then another bonus weekend coming up. But I know a lot of guys and girls are focusing on that and then what's coming up. But I think it's fun to put some attracting out this time of year. These deer coming. You're gonna get different bucks coming in. Number one, I
Hmm.
got the one that I had been having on camera disappear. I think someone shot it in the shoulder. I don't remember the full story about it, if they found it or not. But I think someone hit it in the shoulder somewhere close or whatever, and I haven't seen him appear back up. But I do have another one that's been moving through, and I haven't seen him at all. He has split brows. He's a pretty good deer, not super huge, but one of those deer that like shows up after rut. You've never seen before, so that's fun
Hmm.
too.
Yeah, they're the fun ones. I like the ones that show up that you've never had on camera before. So,
Yeah, and of course
but
does and everything else out there right now. But what is your like post rut tactics? If you're out and you're a bow hunter, what do you like to do?
it's, I mean, you said it. It's. I mean, they're going to be hungry. It's going to be food, and they're not going to move. It's trying to catch them going to a food source, especially like in the evening. I feel like where I'm at, the deer are pretty heavily pressured. So most of the time them mature bucks are in their beds before the sun even comes up. You might get a glimpse of them, but the evening times, like they'll get up and move, but
They're hungry.
they're probably not gonna hit them food sources until the last hour,
Yeah,
maybe half hour if you're
yeah,
lucky.
yeah. I think that's the
So
best way to catch them.
yeah, it's definitely I think the evenings will be a better way to catch them, but it's trying to find out where they're bedding and cut them off at their food source. But you also got to play the wind correctly. The wind's a big factor. These mature bucks they use that to their advantage. So
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no cover anymore because leaves are mostly falling
right,
off.
right,
All the leaves
yeah,
are down, so you've got,
hmm
wispy branches and stuff you're trying to hide behind. So if you're out in the tree stand, your entire environment around your stand changes this time of year. Whereas
hmm
we get snow on the ground, all of a sudden you can see a long way, and it's kind of fun to hunt in the snow. I enjoy it because you can see the dark figures moving a little easier. I think you pick out motion. It's like we talk about the
hmm
block. It's like the reverse what deer do to us. It's skylining. So
right,
like in the snow
yeah,
conditions,
yeah,
we do it to them. So like
yeah.
we get the white background, we can see their dark spot moving, in front of us. It's like, reverse Uno or so to speak in that terms. But I love hunting in the winter. I will say, throw it out here, I will say my body doesn't respond to it the way it used to. Hunting in 15-degree weather, it about kills me now. Like I remember doing it as a college kid and not even thinking twice about
Right.
doing it. But every year I get older, the cold is affecting me more. I just talked to a few guys this weekend about 45 years old, and they're like, you know what? I feel like a sissy, but it absolutely does affect me more now that I'm older than it was when I was younger. And I said, I agree. It does. It does
I'll
affect
sit
me.
up there. I got like you can call me whatever you want. I got a heated jacket and heated thermal pants. Like
There you
I'll
go.
sit there all day. I bring a change of batteries with me too.
Yeah,
It
that's
don't
smart.
like it keeps me fairly toasty.
Yeah, and also I'm going to throw it out there to people too. Like you don't have to be a superhero. We were all that young hunter once where you're trying to not move and it's 10 degrees. I mean, my dad about killed me doing that one time. He's like, you just sit here by this tree and I'll come back and get you. And he never shows up. And I'm getting colder and colder and colder and colder.
Is he ever gonna show back
And he never
up?
showed up. It's like dark. I get the house. He's up there. Like, where were you at? I'm like, you,
You mu-
yeah. Of course, as a kid, I'd say that,
yeah, right,
but I'm
right.
thinking, dude, I about died. But I think, I mean, hunt smarter, not always harder. Like I think we all went through, wearing too thin of clothes and not wearing layers.
Uh-huh.
So for me, late season is going to be, layers number one, great headgear,
Yes.
phenomenal differences. Like put something on your head, get yourself a
Yeah.
full head hoodie or
hmm
a cap, or a face mask. Get something on your head
I wear a
because
face mask and like a big
like a
beanie and stuff.
baklava or something is what they
Yeah,
call them,
like
just
yeah.
to cover the face.
That's the
Yeah,
biggest thing. I mean, a lot of heat escapes from your head and then your
yep,
feet. Yeah,
yeah,
so
biggest
that's the.
percentage.
hmm So and like I said, I have a heated jacket and heated thermal pants I wear. I love it. I can stay really still when I'm pretty toasty in the
Right,
stand. So
absolutely, and it's comfortable. It's actually kind of
yeah,
nice. It's
yeah,
quiet. It's
absolutely.
it's cold, but it's refreshing because I know you feel like as long as your body's warm, you're okay. But I can tell you, I've also done the other script of that where I didn't take enough, and I'm out there and there's wind, it's 20 degrees, and within a half an hour, I'm like going, man, this is really too cold out here to be hunting. And so you try to like contract muscles, try to fire muscles in your legs and your arms, try to keep the blood
hmm
flowing through your body, but you can almost feel the blood start to pull into your torso away from the extremities, your hands and feet
Yep.
get cold.
I see a lot of guys do this too, and I it's like the biggest no-no is like they'll get fully dressed and then walk to the stand.
Yeah.
I will put on a base layer and like hardly anything to walk to the stand. I will get dressed at the base of my tree stand or the base of my climber before I climb. Like I like
So you're not sweaty.
you should see how much like the layers I take with me and don't I'm not getting dressed in. Like
Yeah.
I'll have my thermal pants and like a thin top layer on, but obviously the heated portion wouldn't be turned on. But I very minimal walking to the stand because
That's
you
smart.
heat up so fast, and then by the time you get up into your stand and then you're sweating,
Yep.
it's over. It's
Yeah.
over.
It just zaps the heat right from your
Yeah,
body.
then you get really cold really quick.
Yeah. And I'll throw out there a pump for electronic hand warmers. Like I've moved away
hmm
from the chemical hand warmers.
Yep,
Electronic hand warmers, they are the cat's ass when it comes to
it
keeping
is.
your hands warm. You can stick them in your boots, your gloves, even your headwear if you need to. And they recharge quick and they have different settings now. You're pretty cheap. really like electronic hand warmers. And then even, like if it gets really, really cold or you want to hunt on a, stone like crazy, sometimes it's fun to be in a tree stand. Sometimes it's fun to be in a blind. Like it's pretty
Yeah.
comfortable if you have
Fire up
a
that Mr. Body Heater in there.
yeah, yeah, throw a little sandwich on there. But if you have,
Oh
like
yeah.
a significant other or kids with you in a blind, it's a lot of
Hmm.
fun. You can talk more, move around a little bit more, probably stay a little bit warmer with cutting the wind out. And if you can get rid of that wind, this late season, you'll be able to spend more time on stand and get out there. But I think also too, it's timing it right. Like I'll throw it out there. I think big bucks that I've seen are probably a little more predictable in their schedules, if you will, late season than early
Yes.
season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
If
Yes.
you can get
Though.
on
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Exactly. Though I feel like they get back to their same schedule as long as you're. I mean, even with the pressures, like they're still almost they'll get back to a schedule, especially when they're that hungry and they're trying to go eat.
Right.
But
Right.
a
Yeah.
lot of I don't know, a lot of people misjudge playing the wind and expect. And this is a bigger. I think we've talked about this one before too. Is like how you enter and how you exit a tree stand, right? Like if you walk in the way the deer be walking in, like that's your scent. They're going to cross your scent path, or
Yeah.
the walk in to and your wind's blowing straight to their bedding area. Like it's very underestimated.
Yeah. And that's a reverse of what we talked about earlier too. Like you said, they can also see us a lot further away too. I've
Hmm.
had I've had does late season a field over with a tree line separating me, get up and move. And I saw them get up and move. They saw me a quarter mile away. Like they
Hmm.
were they were watching. And so there's like tactics both ways. We can play the game a little easier, but the game can play us a little easier too. So I think it's a different way of hunting. And if you haven't been in the woods this time of year, it's a real challenge, but it's a fun challenge because there's like different ways to hunt all year long as the
Hmm.
seasons change, as rut comes in and leaves.
Yeah, I think like these mature bucks too, like they'll stay in thick cover if they're going to move during the day or like during the daylight, I should say, not at night. If they're going to stay in pretty thick, like they're not going to leave a thick area of cover.
Absolutely. I have one story I remember as a high school kid. I think it was late high school. I'm on my grandpa's farm. It is muzzleloader season, so it's always been late in Ohio. And there's this huge CRP field that he mowed, so it was pretty short. And there's a tree line down below. Well, it was probably 200 yards to the tree line. I'm just out, tooling around, cruising around the tree line edges, not really seeing much. It was like later morning, and I pop up over this hill, and I was like, "Whoa!" Because this huge buck had bedded along the tree line looking down the hill. So he was protected because he could see clear up the hill, his wide open field. If there's anything that way, he's going to see it. And then he's watching down the valley, so he's turned it away from me. I thought, well, the only way to break this distance down, I can't just go walking down this field. He's just going to bust and be going. I thought, I'm going to get down and I'm going to army crawl through the snow slowly as I can and get in range. And I remember army crawling. I put the muzzle at my back with a strap, and I'm like moving. He's not looking. Army crawling through the snow. Snow's getting over me. And I got within like 100 yards. And I remember I should have got closer, but I got brace and everything and took a shot. Well, unfortunately, it hit just in front of him. You could see where it hit when I went down and looked, but he got up and took off. And it was one of those memories that sticks with me. Like those are the hunts that stick with you that you
Oh
remember the
yeah.
rest of your life because there was so much activity and fun
Uh-huh.
experience, so much adventure in that respect.
Hmm. I remember we used to do deer drives when we were at later season,
Yeah,
and then I walked down into the woods from the field, and it was like this bottom. So I walked down in this bottom, and I was standing there for like 30 minutes while they were doing the deer drive, like around through the woods. Like it was like strategic, trying to push deer. And it was like at the end of the deer drive, they come walking across this bottom, and then this big old 8 pointer gets up, and he was literally 20 yards in front of me the whole time, bedded down in some thick briars,
that
and you didn't
insane.
even couldn't even see him.
Yeah,
And he just got up and like he ran straight towards me.
yeah,
He got dropped that day, but it's just amazing how they can bed down in this thick stuff and not even be seen.
it's
Like
incredible.
you have to step on their backs for
And
them to
they,
move.
yeah, sometimes they don't move. Like
Hmm.
we had, like you said, deer drives, and I've had deer drives where a guy will walk past the buck, and the buck
Hmm.
will let him get
Go.
past, get up and go
Yep.
the opposite direction.
Yeah, they're not dumb, man.
It's
They
incredible how
do this.
smart they
They
are.
do it all the time. Like
Yeah,
you literally have to almost step on them for them to get up. It's crazy.
yeah,
Like they don't
absolutely.
get that big for being stupid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember the one guy was like, "Hey, did you see that big buck get up and go the exact opposite direction of where you were?" And the guy's like, "No, I didn't see him at all." He's like, "He got up right beside you, dude." And he's like, "You can see him, 20
Yeah,
yards away."
yeah, they're wild. That's
Yeah,
what I don't know. That's what I love so much. It's like the thrill of chasing these things. They just are so unpredictable.
yeah.
It's just I love it. I like I haven't I've passed up like 50 plus deer this year. I'm not shooting a single one unless it's going on the wall. I don't know. You call
That's
it. I
awesome.
just love it. I just love it.
Yeah, it's a blast to get out there. And every, like I said, every season is different for me. Like this year I've been really busy, so I haven't had a chance to hunt as much as I usually do.
Hmm.
And but it's been fun just watching the Facebook pages, watch other people around the state take good deer, and just get out. And like people are incredible with how many great bucks have been taken this year. People fill in the freezer and of course get out during gun season next week, and there'll be a lot more that happens. But I will say that I have definitely not gun hunted a lot in a long time, just because I
Hmm.
enjoy archery so much compared to gun hunting. Grew up, started off gun hunting, we did the deer drives and stuff like that, growing up on the farm, and we all enjoyed it. It's different. It's kind of high action, high pace, but I just think the natural setting of archery is a lot more fun to get out and experience. As you get into it a little more, I think some people don't have the time either. Some people want to get out and get a quick deer during gun season, and that's what they want to do. So all respect to
Yeah.
people that want to do that as well. It's all the same thing.
Yeah. I'll hunt the same amount as I do archery. Like I'll hunt the same amount during gun season. I do love archery hunting, but I'm gonna hunt the same during gun season every weekend, every chance I get.
Yeah, and
I don't think I've hunted this hard in my whole life. Like it's been
that's awesome though. Oh,
a
and it's
lot,
also
and
like I
I've had a couple good opportunities. They just haven't panned out. I had that big
yeah
8 pointer with a lot of mass right outside of bow range, and then I had that 10 pointer at 30 yards. He just needed another step, so it's like maybe third time's a charm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, again, you just get back out at it. Like I said,
Hmm.
I've had very minimal opportunity to get out this year, and it's just one of those years where I think you go, well, next year I'll try to put more time into getting out and have more time in the stand. So, it's one of those things where the more you do it, the more you like it, the more fun adventures you have, the more memories you have. At the end of the day, that's what it's about: is the memories you're going to take with you from the field,
Hmm.
to pass on to your kids, get them involved in it, and hopefully continue the sport. And I know I think with our modern lives, the number of hunters, I'm pretty sure, I think the number of hunters is on decline. I think overall, from what I've seen. But I think the number of days that people hunt in the woods, that's something on the podcast, is on the increase because if you are a hunter, you put more time into it. And if you're not, in society in general, there might be less numbers total. But the
Hmm.
ones that do hunt are putting a lot more time into hunting than what people used to do, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely pumped those numbers up this year. I tell you that.
it's
I've
all
done
Kevin.
burnt up PTO days. I got another one next week. I just been hunting a lot. God,
That's super
my
cool.
wife's a saint. I tell you that.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God. I can't, couldn't ask for a more supportive wife, that's for sure.
That's very cool. Well,
But
I
it's,
mean, it's so universal. Like the meat you do. Like we're doing tomorrow
yeah.
for Thanksgiving. Like I've got trail bologna. We're taking trailed cheese trays. To the
Hmm.
in laws, and it's just. I mean, everybody loves it. It's smoky. It's good. It's healthy. And like I said, we use it for the ground about everything I have. So I mean, it's so
Hmm.
universally useful.
Yeah, we've been so busy this year. It's like, I can't tell you the last like good home cooked meal we've actually done. It's just like all the
Right.
time around here. It's just on the go constantly.
Yeah.
So I still have deer meat from last year that I need to finish before I even think about. That's why I haven't even shot a doe this year.
Yeah.
I've been head hunting all the year. And some people are like, "Well, that's a waste of money. All that time, it's not.
Yeah. It's
I'd pay
not.
more for therapy.
Yeah.
This is my
You're
therapy."
right. Yeah. Absolutely. 100% agree. Get out
Yeah,
there and
like
connect and think, clear the head.
and like how busy we all are to get an opportunity to sit out in the woods. I love it. It's peaceful for me. So
I couldn't agree more in that respect.
it's
And
never a waste for me. Like I'll how many miles I'll put on my truck this year, how much gas I burned, the lease properties I pay for, the broken bow that I happen to get. It's like it's
yeah,
all worth it to me.
100% agree.
So
Yeah, for sure. So, as far as the gun season coming up on your end, are you going to get out with a gun or are you going to stay with archery?
I'm taking a gun absolutely.
All right.
I'll probably I've been wanting to shoot a big buck with my bow, so watch me take a gun and have an opportunity. But
All
that's
right.
fine. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hunting Saturday and Sunday. So
Okay. And I've had the opposite happen too. I've been out. I was bullheaded, took archery gear out during gun season, and had a nice buck, beautiful deer within range of gun, and couldn't reach out with a bow. So it's like,
Hmm.
I mean, try what you can do and see what happens. Like you said, you never know. It's an adventure, and every weapon is going to have different range, like we talked about before. So it just depends on your situation. You know your weapon, right?
Hmm.
So you know the capabilities of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the county I'm in, we can only hunt here in Maryland. It's a lot of counties are only like a straight wall rifle. Like you can't use a neck down cartridge. So the county I'm in is straight wall or shotgun. So um, I'm using a straight wall rifle for the first time this year. Actually, I just bought myself a new one.
That's cool.
So I used to use the old H&R 12 gauge. I love that thing. That thing's a
You can't
tack
beat
driver though.
those.
No,
Yeah,
it's awesome. Like I have so much confidence in that gun. It's unreal. I know what that gun can do. But
yeah.
I've just sighted in a new straight wall gun this year, so that's what
That'll
I'm
be
gonna
fun.
take. Yeah.
I know a lot of the evolution of like muzzleload hunting here in Ohio, during our shotgun season. People just started to move toward muzzleloading because
Hmm.
they're just so accurate. They're like rifle accurate now, and
Hmm.
I think those in the past 10 years really picked up as far as usage. And then there's some people, that they stick with their archery. Like I know a few guys that are going to go out next week and they're taking their compound bows out, and more power to them. Have fun, enjoy. They
Yeah.
know they know their range and what their limits are compared to having a gun. But if you're out and you're having fun, that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple public lands in Maryland that's bow only, so it makes it nice to I and that's where I shot a big eight last year. I just decided to go public and it was bow only. Not a lot of people hunt the place. It backs up to a bunch of like row homes, like a community, and that's where honestly the big bucks hang out at. They hang out like right behind them houses because they know most of the time they're safe. Not a lot of
Makes
people hunt
sense.
it. Low pressure.
Yeah,
I kind of knew where the deer were at in that property, so last year was probably when I shot that 8 pointer. It was probably one of the best hunts I've ever had. I've seen 30 plus deer that day, just all over
man,
the
that's
woods
awesome. That's
chasing
fun.
each other. It was
That is
wild.
fun. That's
It,
fun. Yeah, and then you have those like experiences like that. You have that thing happen to you. You get like 30 deer in one day, and then the next day you go out and you see nothing. You can't figure out like the life of you. What's the difference? Like
right. Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird.
it is. It is. And then like this year, like I I've never hunted the rut this hard as I did this year, and I didn't like I seen decent bucks. I seen a couple that were over 140 and had a couple opportunities, but it just wasn't as many deer overall. And I was comparing it to last year. I'm like, man, this sucks.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I had more opportunities this year, so I can't complain one bit.
yeah, yeah. And like on my end here in Ohio, I saw probably more big deer taken on Facebook and different properties and people on pages than I've ever seen before in my life. Where me personally, I barely saw a big mature buck at all. Like it was just slow. It was just slow where I hunt, and I didn't get out as much either. So a couple of that with lack of time, but it was definitely a different year. With we talk about weather and getting warm and then kind of cold. It was like,
Hmm.
I guess I never saw like a real hard rut 3 day window or 4 day window where they're just chasing during the day. I didn't see a lot of no
Honestly,
chasing.
I didn't either where we're at. Obviously, it's we have a bunch of different farms that we lease, but I really didn't see a huge. I feel like I maybe missed it, but I hunted like it was like the second week in November. I hunted like 3 or 4 days that week, and I just didn't feel like it was that much of a push.
Yeah,
I
I
think it was.
agree.
I feel like it was more instead of like a influx of deer chasing. It was kind of spread out,
Yeah,
so it wasn't really that much that I seen chasing at one time at least.
yeah, I totally
I
agree
think
with
they're
that.
going to start. Hopefully, there's always going to be those that are going to hit their second cycle that weren't bred. So you have into December those mature bucks chasing or trying to seek out those that haven't been bred yet. So hopefully that'll play out this weekend with the colder temperatures, and
Yeah,
we'll see a straggler doe and estrus. So
in
we'll see
Ohio.
see what yeah we'll see what happens.
Yep. And then you get like those times where I've had one encounter mid-December. I was on a point in the hill and I had like 4 bucks. They kind of started to bachelor back up again. You start to get
Hmm.
later in the
Yep.
season
Yep.
and they start to bachelor back up. They start to to bed in tight areas and come out for a feed late and that sort of thing. And I had this little spike come out, and I'm sitting there thinking around like, okay, whatever, he's passing me at 40 yards. And then I had this like 6 pointer come out, the same bedding area. And there's an 8 pointer behind him, and then the fourth one was Big Daddy. He's a big old
Hmm.
boy, and I didn't expect him at all. All of a sudden, he was a monster. He came up out of his bedding area, last one to come out, of course, smartest deer in the group, and he ended up he was at 40 yards, and I couldn't get a shot of him. His broadside stopped, and it was like, there was stuff in the road. It was getting dim. It was like, it hadn't been snowing, so it was, those November days where it's cool, it's cold, it's dim, and it's getting dark quick. And I had to watch him just keep on walking along the wood line there. But they all followed the same trail. I remember it was like
Hmm.
bump, 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 one after the other. And that big one stayed back last and let all others go first. And big bachelor up, late season like that. And you have a good opportunity to big deer. I know a guy that he actually won't even hunt till after rut. Like he literally is a bow hunter all his life with bow hunting. He actually doesn't hunt the rut. He hunts after rut because he'd rather pattern than during the feed than during the chaos of the rut. So I respect
That
that
makes
too.
sense.
You
It
know,
makes sense. If you have the opportunity where your properties and stuff aren't that pressured and you can do that, wait and pattern them. But like we all have different situations. That's the hard
yeah,
part, right?
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, last weekend my buddy was hunting with me. He's seen a spike and a 6 pointer together. Like they're already a couple of them already starting to get back together around here.
Hanging out again.
But yeah, it depends. I think we'll see a couple does, hit their second cycle because they weren't bred. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
absolutely. Well, I'm gonna get. I
hopefully
mean,
something happens.
yeah, I'll be hunting over feed anytime I have over the holidays here. To slip out, I'm gonna be hunting over feed and the soybean fields. You get some snow on the ground. They like to get in those soybeans that are sticking up and nip them off and such. So I'll be out mostly hunting feed and trying to get deer to come in and hopefully they're hungry and
They still
it's
got
post
soybean
rut.
fields
So
up.
uh,
Like they
there are
haven't
there are some still up. Most are
really.
picked, but there are some. Oh, you get like the edges, but miss some.
Right. Yeah.
Along the edges,
Yeah.
the deer
Yeah.
congregate around that.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it'll be hunting pick fields, waiting for letting them come to us. And
Mm-hmm.
throwing a blind
Yeah.
up and see
I
what
say
happens.
all the fields I hunt around there, it's either corn or soybeans, and they've been cut for 2 months now. Like they've been gone.
Yeah, I know
It's
there's several fields, and I think people do it for like food plot purposes. I think, but there's several
mm,
fields around here where they intentionally would see the back of the field planting corn and left probably like an acre up in the back
right,
of the
right,
field,
yeah,
just
yeah,
to kind of pull the
mm-hmm.
deer out of the woods. But my dad had a really nice buck on camera at his place a couple of nights ago, and he hadn't seen him before, so it'll be fun to late season here to see what happens. And I said, I don't have any pressure. Like I'm just going to get out as much as I can and
Yeah,
see what's going to come into the feed. So should be
yeah,
good.
yeah. It'll be fun. I can't wait to get out this weekend and see
All
what
right, man.
happens with the gun. So
Yeah. Well, good luck if you're from
yeah,
Ohio and stay warm. Use all
thank
your
you.
resources out there and
Yeah,
get a big one, man.
use all my heated jackets.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy
uh,
Thanksgiving. Hope you guys
yeah,
enjoy.
you too. Thank you.
All right. Take care.